You are live, sir. There.
Guys, can you guys hear us? Say so in the chat, please, if you can.
Yeah, let us know if you guys can hear us. We're trying to hammer out all of our issues, technical and otherwise. All right.
There we go. Damn, I'll tell you one thing.
It's bright.
Right.
All right, they can hear us loud and clear.
Perfect. Okay.
Cool. All right. It is a little fuzzy. Our internet is a little spotty out here, obviously. So let me see if I can change the quality on it. That'll change it.
Yeah, guys, just bear with us. We've kind of jury rigged up a phone to a charger, and where we're at on the side of this mountain, we don't have much internet, so we're trying to do with the best we got.
Okay. Well, it's set for high definition, and I can't change it. So
okay.
That's where it's at. So
it is what it is. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. So, all right. So we've got.
So we're not going to be able to put the questions up on the screen because I have StreamYard running on the phone. So we can see the questions in the chat. So if you guys say anything, we'll be able to see them in the chat. It'll be a little behind just because we're dealing with this from this angle. So, Jessica. We have been in the Uwharrie National Forest for a couple of days now. We kind of came out on a whim and came out here to do this and check it out. Like I said, we've never really been out here before, and we've gotten a couple of reports from the area. So we thought, what better thing to do than come out here and check it out for ourselves. People have talked about the Uwharrie for a very, very long time. You hear about it on the internet ad nauseum, and we're like, all right, let's check it out and see what all the hype is about. So far, it's been definitely not what we've expected. No.
Not at all. The Uwharrie itself, very small, 50,000 acres, which, I mean, that's a lot of acreage, but for a national forest, that's one of the smaller ones. There's a lot of wooded areas around it. That's all private property, and pretty much everything here is posted.
Yeah.
I have never seen, we're used to operating in upstate South Carolina, Western North Carolina, North Georgia, those areas. And there's always a lot of like private property through there. You just don't see the level of posted property like you do through here.
For sure. Yeah.
So you'll be going through the middle of the Uwharrie at night, and all of a sudden, just the next thing you know, you run across a string of no trespassing signs because somebody's private property has kind of jutted into the national forest. So it's very weird. It's very, very weird. It's very weird that the layout of it, so it's weird. We haven't had anything strange happen yet. We saw that weird light in the woods last night. We're still not sure what that is. Somebody had suggested that it was somebody lost with a cell phone light trying to find their way through the forest, where we could never find that person.
Pretty unlikely that was somebody with a cell phone in the middle of the woods. That'd be kind of a weird thing to do, I guess.
We're running and looking for Bigfoot. That's a weird thing to do. So we can't really. Weird is it's a pretty generic term there. But anyway, so we've been out here looking. We had the weird lights. We've had a couple of weird things we thought we heard last night. But here's the deal: is that most of the parts of the Uwharrie, there's like a road nearby. And the big thing with the Uwharrie is there's a lot of off-roading that takes place here. Like in the land between the lakes, there's a particular section that's been put aside for like off-roading vehicles. There's a huge section of the Uwharrie that's set up, pretty much the whole place set aside for like off-roading.
Yeah.
So no matter where you're at, you're going to hear like engines. So even some of the weird stuff we heard last night, we're still not 100% positive it wasn't just an echo of like an off-roading vehicle. The other thing too is I've never heard so many low-flying small plains. We do deal lots where we're at, but not to the degree
that we've dealt with it
that
here.
we've dealt with here. So that's been weird. So overall, though, what struck me is that as far as like Sasquatch being here, like Bigfoot being here, there are several reports. There's a lot of reports, and one of the things I was thinking about is that all of this land being divided up and posted the way it is would actually make it easier if there was something here to kind of stay hidden. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously they're not going to respect no trespassing signs. They're not going to respect private property boundaries. But anybody looking for them has to. So therefore, it would be very easy for these things to, again, if there was let's play devil's advocate, if there was a population here, that's what you would have to deal with. So, I mean, it would be easy for them to kind of stay here and remain hidden. Now, the other thing that is similar to what we're used to dealing with is there's a ton of old cemeteries in the middle.
Oh yeah.
There's a ton of the remnants of like old homes, of old settlements. Hiking around today to check out a spot, we saw the remains of several just like old roads. You could tell that had been part of the forest that had been leveled out for a road once upon a time. So
I have this other laptop up, so we're going to actually be able to see your chats and actually put them up now in a normal manner, semi-normal to what we usually do. Yeah, so he was talking about all these cemeteries that are out in the woods. This national forest is very similar to the national forest that we go into in the dark corner, where there are settlements, cemeteries, all the same stuff in these areas. And we found a few cemeteries today. We hiked to a couple today and found some really cool locations. But some of them are way, way out in the forest. And we found that part of that chimney, that foundation last night during our live stream. So, there's a lot of similarities, but gosh, it is so freaking hot. We hiked today.
We almost gassed out today. It was rough because we can't ultralight hike. We have to have a lot of stuff with us. We need batteries, cameras, recording equipment, water. Obviously the other weird thing we're used to. You're always a couple hundred yards away from like a stream, some sort of water, so we can filtrate water as we go along the course of the day and stay hydrated really well. Here, that ain't the case. We ran across 3 streams and all of them are dry as a bone right now.
We were kind of hopeful because we're like, okay, there's some ferns around here. There's a stream down here at the bottom of this hill. We get down there and it was just dry as a bone. So we couldn't really filter water or anything like that today. We were just hauling as much water as we could while we were heading out into the woods. But my God, it was so hot and so dry, and we had to haul so much water. So we actually just got in to do the show tonight. We got in from being out on the trails and out in the woods. So we were both very sweaty.
Extremely sweaty.
And
so,
but yeah, it's been pretty interesting. The Uwharrie is definitely not what we expected. What's really strange about it is most national forests or federal land is one big continuous chunk of land. And there's
big chunk of land.
And there's clearly delineated boundaries between that land and private land. And like Joe was mentioning before, but it's the private land is just so interspersed with the national forest here. We don't know where the national forest begins or ends, or it's very odd.
Because if you're going through at night, your depth of vision it's limited. So unless there's a no trespassing sign like right in front of you, you're going to miss it. And I don't know if it's because of all the off-road, because there's a lot of off-roading that takes place here, a lot of off-roading. Every other vehicle you see is like a tricked out Jeep or somebody hauling a side-by-side. So, and let's just face it, I don't know if there's any like off-roaders out there, but if there are, there's a reputation. Off-roaders generally go out of prescribed areas and just rip the hell out of the land. You know what I'm saying? So it seems like everybody has a lot of no trespassing signs up because they don't want that to take place on their property. So, so that's been difficult to maneuver around the woods at night, not knowing if all of a sudden you're going to pass over into somebody's land and, more than like you're okay. I don't want to trespass on somebody's private property that doesn't want trespassers on there. I don't want somebody running around my backyard without permission. Um, so that's difficult. So it's very, very difficult. And just the layout of it just seems odd. It seems like it juts out into private property, and then private property juts into the Uwharrie National Forest a lot. So it's just difficult to maneuver, especially around the edges right here. So
so I'm gonna pop on this right here. Shirai Ronin Gaming says, was the low flying aircraft the weird bass sound I kept hearing in the live stream? I probably. So while we were out all day today, we had our GoPro out. We were out in the woods and we were filming some stuff, and there were many times where we had to kind of just stop because there's so many aircraft going overhead. If there's somebody out here doing Sasquatch research or they're listening for something, I don't know how they hear anything because there's so much noise pollution.
And that's day and night.
Yeah.
Day and night. So, but again, it does have some interesting stuff going on. We've gotten a lot of like really cool reports from people. We've had minimal opportunity to check our emails, YouTube comments, anything like that. Even with a little bit we've been able to do, we have seen several messages from people going, hey, I had an experience in the Uwharrie, here it is. So there's credible people that have experiences here. It's just going to have it's a different environment than what we're normally used to operating into, and it's going to take some adaptation. So I'll tell you the other thing that seems, it's not as sketchy as most areas that we go into.
No, it's not.
It's weird. You'll be, all right, here's where you enter the national forest, and then there's like 3 gated communities like right there next to it. So it doesn't have that sketchy kind of feel to it that a lot of spots do. You know what I'm saying? So where you're almost more worried about the people around there than you are about any sort of like anomalous activity. That does not seem to be the case up here. Now, that being said, there are some sections that apparently have a lot of occult activity taking place.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah, Lionheart Outdoors says it's the flight lines of Charlotte Airport and RDU.
oh
Yes.
yeah, you get them big time. So I wanted to answer this real quick, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, let me put that away.
So Ms. Me had asked, this is just off a little tangent here.
I have it started.
You got it starred. Are you going to do any collabs in the future, possibly with Black Mass Paranormal? More than likely, yes.
Yeah.
He is an awesome, awesome guy. One of the things that's, as this channel's kind of grown, has kind of caught us off guard is there's a lot of like hostility out there, you know what I'm saying, between channels that sometimes you're just going, man, why are you all worked up here, you know? So that's made us kind of hesitant a lot of times to really like interact with people.
Yeah.
Brian from Black Mass, though, total complete opposite. Just as friendly as he comes across on his channels, you know, on his channel, that's how he's come across us. Phenomenal guy. Matter of fact, we'll be on an upcoming podcast that he actually hooked us up with, going, hey, you know, these guys are great, talking about us, of course, because you know we're pretty awesome, and hooked us up with this other podcast that we're going to be coming up on fairly soon. But yeah, we're talking about trying to get together with him over the next couple of months and then try to do like a crossover event. Black Mass, Hellbent Holler. He's great. He does pretty much the same stuff that we do. So I think that would be definitely a good collaboration. Collab, it sounds kind of cheesy, social media influencer. Collab. But I think you might see us kind of like join forces to like try to investigate an area. Him individually, the two of us, we all have our own individual strengths. I think they would kind of like complement each other. So I think that would actually end up being a pretty good like little crossover of joint forces, whatever you want to call it at this point. So
Odyssey Antics says, Uwharrie is about 45 minutes from me. I won't stay overnight in the late fall. I guess I want to stay overnight in the late fall and hopefully catch some audio. I don't want to see anything. Yeah, so I think we're definitely going to return in the winter. We've got some stuff booked out for fall, but I think we're going to return in the winter because we really like the area and we really want to go a little more in depth. Like Joe mentioned before, there's a lot of people who are off-roading out here. That seems to be the main recreation and main use for the land and the property around here. So there's a lot of people, especially Sunday. There were a lot of people out in Jeeps and four-wheelers. So today was a lot quieter around the area. We scouted around a lot today. but because it's Monday, it was way quieter out here. So we're wondering if maybe it'll be a little calmer in the winter and we can come out here and maybe see a little further too, because we won't have as much vegetation, although it's not that bad because it's dry as crap here. So, yeah, we also want to come out in the winter, late fall, and check it out.
Yeah, and you know, it's weird. Again, it's going to be something we have to adapt to. We go really heavy on like audio recording stuff, and I'm looking at it now, going, I don't think we're going to drag all those audio recorders out with us. It's just it. I don't think you can trust anything you hear like faintly out here at all. We were always worried about, because it always seemed to us, like from an outside perspective, that the Uwharrie was just overran with Bigfoot hunters. And we used to always joke that there's like a group on one hill tree knocking and howling, and then there's a group like one hill over, like just answering them at that point, each thinking that they're communicating with Sasquatch. We haven't really seen, I'm sure there are, but it doesn't seem to be the number of like Bigfoot hunters out here that we maybe thought there might be. But the other ambient noise is a lot more difficult to contend with. So I don't think we're going to go as heavy on like audio recorders. So
You want me to put that up? Because I'm sure
Sure.
it is. Yeah. All right, I'm putting this up because I know somebody had mentioned something earlier to me about the quality. There we go. We apologize for the spotty quality. This is a remote broadcast.
but we did at least want to get on here briefly tonight, kind of hang
Yeah.
out with you folks.
We do have a special thing planned
Yeah.
for after the show.
Mhm.
So we'll talk about that towards the end, I guess.
And let's see here. But anyway, so yeah, we're gonna do some more stuff out here in the fall.
I think this was initially just kind of
Yeah.
a scouting trip just to get a feel for the area and kind of figure out our way around and go ahead and set up a plan for a more thorough investigation in the late fall, early winter, I think.
Yeah. Missouri Broad hunting apps. Yeah, we were looking into Onyx Hunt. It's not usually needed with the places we go to, but up here it's going to be necessary. So next time we come up, we'll be armed with that in order to kind of help us kind of make sure that we're aware of the property lines and whatnot that we're dealing with.
Yeah,
here.
and exactly where we are. Jimmy Silvio says, what do you carry for defensive firearms?
I carry a Glock 20.
And I carry a Glock 29.
Yep.
Either
So
10 millimeter. Mine's a compact though.
And then sometimes we carry a Mossberg Shockwave 12 gauge, depending upon the area that we go into. But yeah, we do this armed all the time. Just because you don't see it on camera, we don't do this unarmed at all. So it's just not something we're interested in doing. So
Almost Ryan, thank you, sir, for that $9.99.
no longer homeless Ryan.
No longer.
Homeless people are giving us money. So
No longer homeless
no
Ryan.
longer homeless Ryan. Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. So
Home Ryan now. Let's see. Lady Wolf says, heard the pulsing noise, saw a black figure in the tree line that shot off to the right when Jesse was standing in the center of the cemetery stone and the eye shine.
is this on the LBL video that we released?
Yeah, you're talking about a cemetery stone. I'm not sure.
Yeah, lady, we'll let us know which video you're talking about here.
We'll address that, or we'll check that.
Now, if she's saying her pulsing noise saw the black figure in the tree line that shot up to the right, yeah, let us know which video you're talking about. So
That's that.
Let us know.
Laura Classius says, been watching for a few weeks, subscribed last week, love your shows. They are very scary at times. Be careful, guys. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. We just go out and we try to go to interesting places and see what kind of weird stuff we can capture with the equipment that we take out.
Let me do this real quick. So Ray wanted to know, did y'all encounter any more lightning alerts? A couple more over the course of the night. Somebody was claiming that it was heat lightning. There was no heat lightning at all last night. We went through, we had people like actually checking online and letting us know, going, hey, I'm checking the area. There's no lightning going on. There's just no light. As far as we know, that thing doesn't malfunction when we're testing it at home or anything like that. It's only in certain areas. So that was kind of interesting that happened. Is that like a smoking gun? No, but it is something that made me kind of raise my eyes a little bit. so there's that. But yeah, we did have that happen a little bit more, and you're going to probably see that on Jesse's like backpack or chest rig. Pretty much most investigations going forward.
I carried it today and it didn't go off at all, so it's not like it's going off like crazy and all the time. Denny Kopic says y'all need to do an investigation into the Brown Mountain Forest. Is that near the Brown Mountain where the Brown Mountain lights are? You can go ahead.
Yep. So, Lance Landmark. Yeah, we're in a cabin in the woods. We will stay out in tents overnight upon occasion, but no matter if we go out of state, especially, we need a pretty secure base of operations because we don't want to go out overnight or go out for like 18 hours and leave $10,000 worth of equipment in a nylon tent or just in the trunk of a car.
Yeah.
So, and also too, we
have to charge everything.
We run a ton of battery backups. A matter of fact, we're running the laptop off of Jackery power supply right now. So we have a ton of battery backups, but still we also have a ton of equipment. So we burn through those. So, but yeah, we're in the woods right now. And as a matter of fact, when we kill this tonight, we're going to probably be back out in the woods for something that we've got planned up at this point. People digging the wallpaper. So,
cabin cheese ball. I love it.
Joan said farm and the LBL with the lightning detector correlate with the shadow figure possibly. If the shadow figure was giving a sudden and immediate burst of,
or the shadow figure maybe emerges from those
things. And a lot of this stuff we come up with just by just brainstorming. The lightning detector, we stole that from the Skinwalker Ranch guys. People, we don't really watch a lot of TV, so when we had that weird RF signal in North Georgia, everybody was going, the Skinwalker Ranch guys are experiencing something extremely similar. We don't have cable, so we're out. And we even tried to sign up to see if we could watch like the last 2 seasons. I think you got to like buy the seasons in general, which anyway, we have not seen the last 2 seasons as of yet. So we were like checking out little shorts on YouTube and saw the, did you want to raise that up? It's on standard. Okay.
It's not ours.
So saw the lightning detector that they were using, and I kind of went, oh, that's pretty cool. We ought to try that. The idea is that, at least the way they're approaching it, from what I can tell, is that if a portal or something similar opens up, there's going to be stuff on the electromagnetic spectrum that we can like detect and recognize.
Yeah.
Right. And that the lightning detector would be able to at least pick up some of that electromagnetic energy. Some of the other stuff that we carry, the Geiger counters, spectrum analyzers, EMF, tri-field, all of that would hopefully also be able to pick up some of these like electromagnetic disturbances. So that's the thought process behind that at this point. Right now, it's just interesting when it goes off with no apparent cause. I wish we'd had it the night we saw that burning light, because then if it was going crazy when that light was in place, then we would kind of know cause and effect. Right now, it's just something we're kind of messing around with, hoping that eventually we'll be able to kind of tie A to B at this point, see something happen, and then have some actual activity on that lightning detector. And then we'll know that, yeah, some of the stuff that these things are emitting is something that could be picked up on this lightning detector at this point. So.
All right, I'm gonna go back into here. We're gonna go from here. Kavisky, thank you for that. The hotel, help with hotel and traveling.
Thank you.
That's rad. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Kim Drescher says, maybe you guys need a camper or a camper van. I don't know. That's just another problem we have to deal with when it comes to this. I think they're talking about the thing we were talking about earlier. Will it be live? Our next investigation or our night investigation?
This is barely live, so I don't know. This is barely live.
We are talking about doing a live investigation tonight directly after the show, packing up and running out to a location that we have predetermined and doing a live investigation broadcast for you guys. If you guys are interested in that, we are, I think we're talking about doing that, right? Yes? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And hopefully the internet's going to be better there than it is here.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too, is that we're used to operating in areas that have like 0 signal. Here, it's really weird. You'll be going, you haven't had signal for hours, then all of a sudden, bam, you've got like full coverage. And then you take 20 steps, and then you're back out of a coverage zone again. So I think we're going to be able to do that.
Do you want to try to switch over to the laptop and just use the laptop for what we're doing right now?
Laptops. Can you do that without losing the stream?
Yeah. So we would give us 1 second. We're still troubleshooting this.
Guys, can you guys see or hear us? We just had to switch over, and hopefully this is going to work a little bit better.
See or hear us? We just had to switch over, and hopefully this is going to work a little bit better. See or hear us? We just had to switch over, and hopefully this is going to work.
Well, there.
Tell us if this is a little bit better.
See if this works any better.
Is this a little bit better?
Is that better? Okay. Is that working better? Okay. We were running on.
Looks good.
Yeah,
all right.
We were running too many things, I think.
All right. So back into this Born Not to Run. Do you guys have dedicated color LED flashlights or filter on flashlight? What are your favorite lights? We have some red flashlights. Those are not filtered flashlights. Those are just dedicated red flashlights. It's the only option they have. People use those for hunting. Each of us has one of those. And then we are using Phoenix flashlights as well. We've got 2 different models. Jesse's is more of a spill. Mine's more of a spotlight. So you'll see those 2 like light beams as we do our stuff at this point. So.
All right. So Forrest asks, are you guys aware of any cave systems where you guys are? Not yet. We know that there's been this is the Uwharries is where the first gold rush in the United States was. There's still people that do a lot of gold panning out here. So there are some defunct gold mines that dot the area. We are aware of that, but I don't really have a lot of information on cave systems or anything like that. But they did mine the area. They did dig into the earth here. So that always seems to kind of stir stuff up. I know that in the areas that we go into in North Georgia, same thing. So it seems like that's a common theme, but we do know that there are defunct gold mines in this area.
Our buddy from Central Florida Bigfoot. Nice reception during the live. Yep. We that live, we found a spot that the more elevated areas had really good signal. The lower areas didn't. So we were able to use that signal booster, the cell booster that Steve Causey gave us, that he built up for us. And that was able to, now obviously you've got to stay fairly close to that, but we ran that in the lower lying areas and we were able to, no matter where we kind of went to, we had enough signal to kind of stream at that point. So it was extremely cool. It was extremely helpful. So
Kavisky says our EMF and lightning detector do the same thing, electricity in the air.
Lightning detectors usually work on a couple of different ways. Some of them work by when a lightning strike happens, certain things are given off. There's an electromagnetic, there's a radio signal that's given off. Basically, radio signal is kind of overly simplifying, but there's basically an emission on the electromagnetic spectrum in several different ways. Different lightning detectors pick up different stuff. This one operates differently than our tri-field or our EMF detectors do. So it's basically scanning a different part of that electromagnetic spectrum to look for like emissions. So, and then for this one too, it's wearable, it's small. I mean, the tri-fields and all that, I mean, you can hook them to you, but they're bulky and they're cumbersome. And this is cool. You just clip it on there and then we just keep an ear posted to it.
I think eventually we ought to build a rig with the tri-field like they have on Ghost Adventures, where they have the tri-field and then they have a C mount where you have your phone camera facing the tri-field so you can get those readings. But it works just as well holding a GoPro and holding your tri-field in front of it. So I think that's just for continuous monitoring that they use that for.
Yep. But anyway, let's see what else we've got here going on. People talking about how it's difficult to do research where there's a lot of people at. It is, because like I said, last night we would hear stuff, people on the chat would hear stuff, but we've got to acknowledge that there's also a lot of ambient noise around us.
Yeah.
So you've got to take anything that we heard with a grain of salt.
There's a fair amount of noise pollution, I guess is what you would call it, in this area, because you do have these highways that crisscross through here. You're right in those flight paths. So you got planes going overhead constantly. You've got people with large engines, the 4x4s and everything. They're coming and they're going. And so there's a lot of just interference that comes in and out. And there's so many people that live around this area.
It's a really populated area, comparatively speaking. I mean, compared to the areas that we normally go to, there's a lot of, we were in an area today and we get out onto the road, and the area we were just in is part of the national forest. And then again, you hang a right and there's just gated communities and homes and just farms and stuff like that. So with this amount, now here's the deal, with this many people here, there's more people to witness strange activity and to then subsequently report strange activity. But the same token, though, if you are looking for strange activity, you can't really trust your ears that much. So that's one of the things that we are kind of thinking about, that anything that's kind of like a muffled noise, where normally if we were in one of the larger national forests, we would hear it and that would kind of like grab our attention. Here, not so much. Here, we've got to kind of almost assume that anything we hear that's not perfectly clear is just somebody else or noise pollution from like nearby people.
Yeah, so there's a much higher possibility that you're dealing with other people and listen and hearing them than hearing something supernatural out there. That's one thing that I really do like about where we go to in North Georgia and in the dark corner of South Carolina, is we know there's nothing else around there. We know that the next highway is miles and miles and miles and miles. So if we hear something within proximity to ourselves, we know it's not another person out there with us. So this is just, it's a toss up. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell what you're hearing. It's hard to tell one thing from another here. So that's made it a little difficult to interpret what we're seeing.
This has been a rough area to investigate. I'm going to be honest with you. Part of it's the heat. I mean, when we were out today, like I said, we both got gassed. I mean, we were just going, all right, we need to sit down and take a break for a while. Usually we're pretty active through most of it. We probably don't take the amount of breaks that we should. Today was not the case, man. We ran out of steam halfway through the day. I mean, it was just super, super, super hot. No water to filtrate. So we're having to watch our water intake. We had doubled up on the amount of water we usually take out, but that just meant more weight to carry. And then on top of the other stuff that we had. So if we do investigate here again in the summertime, we're going to definitely have to adapt our equipment loadout. And usually we try to cover all bases, because there's nothing more frustrating than having something weird happen and then not having the right tool to capture that evidence to share with people. You just have this other story of going, this happened to me. Well, do you have any like recordings of it? Nope, we really don't. But so we try to carry a variety of stuff with us. We're not going to be able to do this if we decide to investigate here next summer or again this year.
I don't see us coming back during the summer months at all, just because it's so hot. And it's hard for us to actually do the job at hand because we're trying to not die. I almost fell out today on the trail just because I was so dizzy and I was just about to go.
You're going to see us guzzling like Monster energy drinks and Gatorade right now too, to try to replenish and get kind of set up for tonight as well, because tonight's going to be a long.
Replenish those vitamins and minerals from a Monster. Let's see here. Dimensional Legend says, I heard there's a mist creature. It flies in the sky when it's foggy.
Here? In like the Uwharrie?
All right.
If so, if you could elaborate on that a little bit, would be great.
Yeah, let us know. I'm actually going to put the banner up with our email address on it. Because if you are familiar with stuff that is going on in the Uwharrie, if you have any stories or experiences or anything going on in the Uwharrie, let us know. Drop us an email at the email below. And we'd like to hear from you. We might not be able to check it for a couple of days or reply to you for a couple of days, but we want to go ahead and start logging some of those and really start building our case file on this, because this is our first foray here. But I don't think it's going to be our last. I think we're definitely going to come back and explore this a whole lot more.
And like I said, because I think that part of it is the fact that the public land is so limited, but then there are people that have hundreds of acres around here. Now it's all posted. You can't get into it, but there's plenty of places for weird stuff to go on. Okay. It's just that the areas that we're going to have access to are going to be extremely limited. We kept driving past these huge posted spreads today, real large chunks of land that you can't access going, I wonder if anything weird is happening there at night. You know, we'll never know. A lot of these places are hunting properties, so they're only used part of the year. Maybe people are in like, you know, occasionally throughout the year, but it's
So it'd be a great refuge for
yeah,
something
they don't
to
have
go
permanent
into.
residence, you know, at those places. So talking about how hot it is. Yeah, it's crazy hot, man. It is. You could smell us right now. If we were filming in smell-o-vision, you'd be shocked at how terribly bad we smell right now at this moment. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was rough today. It was rough. There's not as many people. We find ourselves continuously, constantly comparing this to the LBL and comparing kind of how we feel about what's going on here. You know, the vibe out here, the human element out here. We keep comparing it to the LBL. I think the LBL for me so far is a bit more interesting.
Yeah, this has got, now here's the deal. This has a lot of potential.
Yes.
Just based upon and I don't know why it is, maybe because there's more people around here, but just the little bit we've seen that we've gotten, there are more people right now messaging us about the Uwharrie than message us did about the LBL. And we got a lot from the LBL. But there is a ton of people contacting us right now about experiences they've had in the Uwharrie. I
will say that the sketchy person element is not as high here.
Sketchy person element is not as high here. It is not as, you always hear about the feral people, quote unquote, whether you want to really call them actual feral people or not, but those people that are in the woods, they're living there, they're kind of shut away from society, and they're just up to no damn good. I don't get that feeling here. And I haven't seen anything to make me think that kind of like savage hillbilly element is like here at this point. So
savage
hillbillies.
Going through the chat right now. Make sure you guys hit that like button. And hopefully this stream is a lot better now that we've kind of hammered out some of these issues.
So did you guys enjoy that last night, even though we couldn't really trust anything that we really saw or heard, and we didn't have any big, like, you know, gotcha moments. But again, that's most investigations we go on to, you know, I mean, you know, not every outing has like a really cool kind of like, you know, moment to it where we think we like possibly encountered something. A lot of times it's just 16 hours of just nothing, and then we just go back home and sleep and then just try it again the next weekend. But did you guys enjoy that last night at all? Let us know if you.
Randy Motes suggests we use a Camelback for hydration. So we have packs that use hydration bladders, and then we have packs that don't use hydration bladders. So we kind of go back and forth between bottles and hydration bladders. It all depends on what we're doing and what the plan is, but we have all of the above. Yeah, we use all of the above. Let's see.
One second. You guys should try to do a live around the Oak Ridge area. Yeah, everybody's been talking about the
only problem is, you know, that's a government facility.
Yeah,
we can't get too close to that.
You can't get too close to it, but there's supposedly a lot of like stuff going on around there. But here's the deal. I'm hearing like murmurs of stuff, but I'm seeing people have it. It's just that I don't know. I don't know much about it. It's not in our neck of the woods. It's not where we operate at. So
I remember there was a remember that nuclear area that we went by in Tennessee, and I wanted to take pictures of it, and you flipped out.
Jesse pulled into like there was some nuclear reactors in Tennessee that Jesse decided she wanted to take photos of. So she just like whips off the road and goes down this restricted road. And I'm like, you just need to stop and turn around right now because this is a nuclear reactor and you just went down a restricted area. I just want to get some photos. And I'm like, they don't give a damn whether you wanted to get photos, what you wanted to do. We're on camera right now. Wave, spin around, get us the hell out of there. So that's exactly what we did at this point. So
everybody said they really liked our live last night.
Cool.
So they like all of the lives that we do. That's cool.
Robert Randolph. This is throwing my AC, like my OCD off, because usually I'm the one doing the comments. When you're doing investigations on public land where there's lots of human activity, do you look for the more remote areas that most people will not go into? we don't really do investigations on public land that have a lot of human activity. We don't go into areas that have like recreational activities.
Yeah, because that you can't trust what you hear or what you see.
Usually the areas that we go into, like today when we were going to check a spot out, we were on an old hiking trail. Now there wasn't really, it hasn't really seen a lot of use, right? I mean, we drove past it yesterday on a Sunday. And if you're in North Carolina, like, Western North Carolina, and you go past a trailhead on Sunday, there's nowhere to park at. It's
oh yeah, Great Smoky Mountain National Park.
Here, there was nobody there. We went down it. There didn't really seem like there'd been a lot of like use on it lately, but it was still a structured hiking path. We're not used to being on those. Usually where we go to, or there are areas where there's really nothing to draw people in. There's no hiking, there's no camping, there's no natural sites like waterfalls or anything like that would make people want to go there, because it's those usual kind of like forgotten and abandoned areas that seem like they draw in like the most activity at this point. So
talking about me trying to go to the nuclear facility, Sheila Eveline says, Jesse, they'll light you up.
Oh yeah, no, trust me. So
that's a danger I run headlong into and won't come out of. So
all
right. So we're gonna
talk about the story of the reactor, and I just want to take photos, and I'm going, they're not going to like stop long enough to ask us what the hell they're doing. They're just going to light the car up.
They're not going to listen to your confused white woman BS.
Yeah, they're not going to listen to.
I don't know where I am.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, the Smokies are way crowded right now. So, so the plan for tonight is, you want to talk about that a little bit? Because we ain't going to be here for too terribly long.
Yeah, we're not doing this live
iteration. So if anybody has anything they want to bring up, ask, anything like that, chime in now.
There is certainly something with the Helmet Holler that we like to try to make things as complicated as possible for ourselves.
Always complicated as possible.
That's why at the beginning of the show, we had how many things running, trying to get this going. And now we're down to a laptop.
Yeah.
So now it's running perfectly. We need to simplify. So we have an idea of what we would like to do. We're going to do this show here. We started a little after 7:30. We're going to do this show here for a little bit, talk to you guys for a minute. If you guys have anything you want to throw out there, ask us or anything like that. And then we are going to end the live stream here, and we're going to throw all of our stuff, in the car, and we're going to go to a location and do another live stream investigation tonight. But it's going to be different from the live stream we did last night because it's a different kind of location. It's actually a location that somebody told us about.
We had heard about this location previously, and we scouted it out. And we were thinking about going there. And then someone in one of our comments mentioned it. Are they still on here?
They're here, yeah.
They're on here. So I'm going to go ahead and mention them. Bye. Odyssey Antics actually had left a comment about this particular spot. So Odyssey Antics, if you're still on the chat, that's why I was like, can you please contact us like immediately? Because we had already been looking at this spot.
Yep. We were there earlier in the day.
Our big thing is that we try to go where the universe takes us. So for us to be looking at it, thinking about it, investigating that, and then you out of the blue, leaving a comment about the spot. If you could, don't mention where the spot is, because we are going there
as a safety issue.
For us, if you could just hold off mentioning it. And then tonight, if you're on the stream, if you can hold off mentioning where that spot is, just so that way we know definitely there's not people out there waiting to hoax us or mess with us or anything like that. But as soon as you mentioned that, we were like, all right, this is where the universe wants us to go to tonight.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going to go to tonight. It is a area that apparently has a wide variety of activity. Paranormal, people have seen Sasquatch there at least 3 or 4 times from what we've been able to piece together. Some just random, there's some like woman in white legends that go along with that we found out about just today that we had not known about previously.
And even some Bigfoot sightings.
Yeah.
Ray Provencio.
Thank you for that, Ray.
Appreciate your efforts. Looking forward to your investigations. Please do be safe. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
And Steve Causey is in the chat. Steve, we used your cell booster last night. It worked a great.
That worked like a charm.
Worked like a charm. Thank you.
So yeah, let's see here.
Rob S has one.
Yep.
Rob, I can get her out. She ain't carrying me out. You know what I'm saying?
So Joe's done for.
I'm done for if that's the case. So, and that's just something that we've come to do. She's not going to be able to drag me out of there. That's all there is to it. So,
I can try to fireman carry you.
Carry me out. So what we're going to do is like I said, we're going to run this for a little bit, and then we're going to take a break.
An intermission, if you will.
Intermission. And then
but there will be another live stream starting up, probably 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
Depending
on us getting out there.
If by some odd chance, because this area has some weird stuff going on in it, if some odd chance we don't go live, don't assume the worst. Just assume that the gremlins are having their way with the equipment at this point. The areas that we're going into, like I said, they're not.
Joe Lives Matter.
What is that? Joe Lives Matter. So, we're gonna kind of be using Steve Causey's cell booster that he gave us in an area that seems like it had a little bit of signal.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be that we live stream, and then if we do experience anything, if we have to move outside of that cone of signal, we'll just have to catch you guys up about it later at that point. But we are going to try to stream whatever we can for you at this point.
I will say, if we don't stream, I will let you guys know that we're not dead via posting on the community page. Yeah. So we'll let you guys know that we're not dead. But yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a live investigation because you guys seem to really enjoy that. And you know what? We're only in the Uwharrie. You only Uwharrie once.
Only in the Uwharrie once. So,
so
let's see if anybody's got anything else here. We've kind of peppered you guys with videos over the past few days. What, 4 in 2 days or something like that? Video on Sunday, live stream on Sunday, 2 live streams today. Yeah. So, you know, take it while you can get it. So, let's see. People talking about me being left for dead. That's good. Yeah. And if you guys, some of you all last night had headphones on, you were watching on live screen TVs, that light that we saw, we didn't see it with the naked eye. I didn't notice it. I guess some of you guys had noticed it on.
Yeah, because we looked over the chat today
and saw that people were commenting about the light. Well, we couldn't see it with our naked eyes, and I'm just basically pointing the phone. I'm looking elsewhere most of the time. I'll kind of check it every once in a while to make sure that it's pointed in the right direction, but I don't really watch it a lot. It wasn't until we turned that light out, our lights out, that we saw that light that people have been mentioning. Well, we couldn't really see it with the naked eye. Now, part of that might be because we did have white lights going last night, so our natural night vision is a little bit more skewed than usual. So,
Lionheart Outdoors says, seem to be the most credible investigators in that area in a while. All right, cool.
Us?
I guess so.
Awesome. All right,
maybe.
So.
I'll take it. What the Vlog says, oh no, if you don't go live, I'm demanding proof of life video stat. I think we'll be all right.
But that light, now here's the deal. The noises we heard, I don't know anything about them. The light that we saw, I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah.
Once we ended the stream, we kind of moved down through there and we even started yelling to see if anybody was out there. Because somebody was like, oh, maybe it's somebody lost wandering through the woods with just like a cell phone light. So
we were parked in the only parking area where you would park within the area.
But we went down through there and we yelled. We never got an answer. We never saw anybody. So I don't know what that light was, but it was visible and it was obvious. It was obviously a light. So when we live stream here in a bit, we will be able to see some of the chat. Okay. We don't really have a lot of time to watch a lot of the chat on there. So if we're not answering questions, understand that we just don't see them. I will try to keep an eye out for anybody that like super chats or does stickers or anything like that. If you have questions, I'll try to keep an eye out for those and get them answered, because I don't want you guys like wasting money, you know. But if we do miss one, I'll try to do our best tonight because I'll be filming tonight as usual. But
Shade Viking says, Holler, I have a feeling you're going to get something epic soon on your mission.
We've gotten weird stuff right now.
We've gotten some pretty epic stuff.
Weird stuff right now. None of it's a smoking gun, but we've got some weird stuff.
Yeah.
And
I always say it's like everything's just a brick building a wall.
We're building a bigger thing there. So.
Rare Roberts says, if you don't get any activity, have Jessie scream as loud as she can and then wait and listen for the authorities to show up and save me from being murdered. Yeah, we're going to go out and, I don't know, we might do some stuff to stir things up. We might get a little crazy.
Yeah. Actually, we will take some stuff to stir some things up.
Yeah. Yes. So I am going to tell you guys that this is going to be more of a paranormal.
Well, I don't know now. It's going to be a mixture.
There is Bigfoot
paranormal
sightings,
activity and Bigfoot sightings are there. So I don't know if that is going to, it's going to be a mixture, but we're going to have a weird mix of equipment for tonight.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And we'll go over all of our stuff that we take out there when we get out there. Of course, I'll talk about it as we use each little thing.
Michelle Richardson, do you ever go to North Alabama by Huntsville? There's a triangle there that they see Bigfoot and Dogman. I'm not even familiar with that triangle. We are very focused on the area that we usually research in. So if you have any information on that, if you want to send that to Hellbent Holler, again, it's going to take us a couple days when we get out of here to catch up on comments and emails and all that. So if you send something, if we don't respond as quickly as we normally do,
we still have to check out. We still have to catch up on all of the comments from our LBL video that are released on Sunday. So.
All right, so we're going through. But I was talking about those abandoned tents on the LBL thing. I don't know if it came out very well in the video that you made for it. But we were standing there talking about something else, and Jesse just happens to see that from a ways away. It was just sheer happenstance that she saw that.
I was editing that, and I was like, I got Joe to come into my office, and I was like, how did I see that tent? How? Because we were so far away. I edited it out where we were hiking the entire way over to where that tent was. But I was like, how in the heck did I see that thing? I have no idea how I saw that thing. But go on.
And somebody was talking about there was a tornado, maybe a tornado blew all of that stuff in. And I'm going, a tornado didn't blow a tent in and then set that tent up. That tent was obviously set up. And the clothing and all of that, generally when tornadoes blow stuff, they're also blowing debris. You know what I'm saying? We didn't see any debris from ripped up houses or anything like that. All we're seeing is clothing and then that purse. So that's a very selective tornado if that's what happened there. So I don't think that's a plausible explanation.
That's probably more a tornado that behaves in such a way is probably more interesting.
Yes, I don't think that's a plausible information on that. So the tent that we found on that, the second one was torn. It wasn't as dramatically ripped as the first one we found. The first one we found, it looked like something was ripping its way in the front, and then somebody was cutting their way out of the back where they would have been laying down at. This one was torn a bit though, but with this one, with so many personal effects there, and then the children's clothing, and I don't know if you included this or not, but we found broken plates and stuff there, not things that you would take on a camping trip.
There's a shard of ceramics.
Yeah, but the
video,
the dinnerware you'd use at your house. And that's when we kind of went, these people just brought whatever they had out here because more than likely they lost their home during the tornado. And then if they did maybe get help or something like that, obviously they lost a lot of their stuff. You would think they would take what they had with them. Usually you don't end up living in an area like that if everything's going real well in your life. So it seems like you'd want to keep what little you had left. It just seemed kind of sinister that it had been left there with the clothing and the dishes and everything like that in it. Then
Cryptidville says that was an expensive tent too, and then Lady Wolf also says yes, the kids' clothes got to me.
Even if you were, let's just devil's advocate, let's just game it for a second. You've lost your home, and again, I know we're building a narrative here, but you've lost your home because of a tornado. You and your child or children have nowhere to go to, so you go and you basically are going to camp in the LBL. Because you have nowhere else to go to.
Yeah.
And then let's say something happens where you get some help. Even if you don't care about your own stuff, you're going to take your kids' clothes, right? You're not going to leave your kids' clothes there. That's what really kind of struck me as being odd, the kids' clothes that was just left. And they were inside the tent. It wasn't like those tents were out, clothes were outdoors and they got ruined or whatever. They were in the tent. It would have been a natural thing to take a change of clothes with you if you left. So,
So I have one down here. Give me a second. Julie Bug asked, do you know if there's a list of people that possibly have gone missing from the LBL? I know that Martin is working on some stuff.
Martin Groves has some information he's compiled. The rumor that we heard, and this was from people that live there, is that people were long-term camping, whatever you want to call it. They were homeless and they were living inside the LBL and they were going missing. And nothing was being done about it because law enforcement's so spotty through there. And we had some people tell us these people are going missing as a result of criminal activity, so be careful. And then other people were going, it ain't criminal activity because some of the criminals are going missing too, you know? It's something else going on in there. So, but regardless of what they thought the reason was for it, you constantly heard nothing's being done about it. Nobody cares, you know? And so I don't think that everybody that goes missing in there, I don't think that a lot of times they're even listed as being missing in there.
A lot. I think we mentioned this several times in the video that these are people that are on the fringe of society, that nobody really seems to care about these people, you know, so they're not going to notice when they've gone missing. Rob S said Dyatlov Pass had some tent rips and cut to escape. Yeah, there's a few parallels with that. That's pretty interesting. That's such a wild incident. Robert Randolph said, if those tents were a cryptid attack, where do you think the bones went?
I think they think they got carried off.
And then these people got dragged out. Yeah,
I think they got dragged out. Yeah.
So.
Lionheart Outdoors said, I got upset just because I just left a tent stake.
Yeah, exactly. Not a whole tent.
And again, I mean, people do we've seen in other parts of the South, we've gone into areas and it's like a really cheap Walmart tent. And it's, you get the feeling that somebody just went out, they had the cheapest tent possible. They just went out there. And then when they got done, they were lazy. They didn't want to pack up their tent and they just left. Usually you'll see a tent, a real cheap styrofoam cooler, and then just garbage. Okay. But when you find something that has like personal effects to it, and especially children's clothes, and it's all just up and gone, and it's just left, like they just turned it on and they walked away from it.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's weird. The 2 tents we found there, because you've got one of the tents that we found one time in South Carolina. And we walked up and we looked at it and we were like, I think this is just a homeless person that was like living out here and like just walked away from it one day.
Yeah.
And then we found another one that exactly like that. It was the smallest, cheapest tent imaginable. And we were like, somebody just felt like camping for a couple of days. And at the end of it went, I'll just go buy another tent. I'm not packing this up, and walked away from it. This was different. So. All right. Let's talk about this. Lawrence, LA, Auble. At the second campsite, I think Jesse felt something because of the adrenaline drain. I felt something just watching a very, very weird rush of absolute fear. Jesse like turned pale as a ghost, had to sit down. I was kind of surprised because the way you edited that kind of underplayed it a bit, because she got really emotional about it. And it was like a very big shock to her system that has not happened before or since then. And you were really emotional for a couple of days after that.
Yeah.
And
we couldn't do our night investigation.
We were going to go back into that area and do a night investigation. And if you watch this channel long enough, you realize we go into some sketchy ass areas sometimes at night, just the two of us. And we pulled in, we were getting geared up, and then Jesse just starts acting really weird that night. And I'm going, what's wrong? And you okay if I say this? So
yeah.
She starts crying. And I'm like, what is going on with you? And she's just like, this one's like hitting me really hard. Because if what we think happened is true, this family may have lost everything because of this tornado, and they had nowhere else to go but into this extremely dark and scary patch of the woods. And then they took a kid there. And then what if they encountered what I saw? Okay. And I don't want to get like overly sensational or grim about it, but let's just leave it at that. What if they encountered what I saw? And she was just like, I don't want to go down there. I don't want to go down there. This is like, these people this is just so depressing what happened to them. And I don't want to just go down there, and there's other places we can go look into. And I don't want to
contribute to the misery
your
of
exact
place.
words were, it's like, I don't want to dance on somebody's potential grave
Yeah.
at this point. I'm just not doing it. And then she just kept going that it was so sad that somebody took their kids down into this, because we're standing there looking into these woods at night, and we're going, this is scarier than hell. I couldn't imagine being here. You're lost, you're alone, you don't have anything, and it's just you and your kids in this wood. If nothing else bad happened, that's bad enough.
Yeah.
And then if something else worse happened, that's heartbreaking. You know what I'm saying? So just absolutely heartbreaking. So
Sharon Guy says it's crazy how all them tents are around the grave.
Yeah.
That was weird how that kept happening.
Yeah.
Through there. And I guarantee that there's got to be another tent out there. I think this happened. This has happened several times.
Brian wants a knife check. Let's do a knife check. Correct? I'm carrying a Condor operator Bowie. It's like my new beater. Well, it's not new. I've had it for like ever. It's like a beater Bowie. But I've got that. Although I've been carrying that giant Bowie that I had a couple of weeks ago in here. That's been my constant knife. And then Jesse's carrying.
So I have a new rig that we are testing out on this trip as well. We went, and because I have so many little odds and ends that I need to carry, like my thermal and knife, and everybody hates when my keys dangle on my belt and complains about it in the comments. And so we got me a really cool like belt to carry everything on, and so I can just go with my chest rig and this belt. Sometimes got a little pouch on it. There we go, small camera. But this is the knife that I've been carrying on. It's my battle belt is what it is, but this is how the knife is set up on it. So I have my knife here at the ready. So I have several of these knives, but this is the one I have on here. It is an SE3. And that is my SC3 that I keep in there. It's got an Armitage carry sheath. It's got the extended handle.
That's the clip point version where it's sharp on the back.
Yeah,
right?
this is the clip point. So the back is sharpened. So that's a great defensive blade. But that's like a nice little SC3 with extended handles. So there's your knife check for the day.
Being else is homelessness, especially children being in that situation. Yeah, even if nothing else bad had happened to them, as it was, it just felt like, a lot of this stuff that we do deals with human misery, and there's no way to get around it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of ghoulish what we do sometimes, You okay?
I'm reading something.
Oh, sorry. And but this one, especially that circumstances, yeah, it was just ghoulish, man. It was just bad.
Yeah. Walter Ballard was asking, what's the black chopper kill teams after besides feral hogs? Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah.
We're still trying to figure out what all that was about. When we go back to the LBL, I don't know what to expect out there. We're definitely not going to tell anybody that we're going out there. What we're doing out there, when we're going out there. We're not going to even post anything on here because we had some problems from the YouTube, not from YouTube, but from people from YouTube. People of YouTube. Yeah. So we're definitely not gonna let you guys know until after we're already headed back home. So we don't get thrown. We don't have a cop collar on us.
All right, let's kind of wrap this up over the next couple minutes. So.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's do a last call right now because we're gonna go do our live investigation. So
turn your notifications off right now and then turn them back on right now. Is that because nobody got a notification on the last one? I just saw that.
Make sure your freaking notifications are on because we're gonna go live again in probably 30 minutes. Yep. For a live investigation here in the Uwharrie. So make sure you guys are ready to roll. And we will bring you guys on a cool live investigation. Let's see. I'm going over some of this stuff here. Which investigation you're discussing so I can watch it later. We're talking about the LBL investigation that I released on Sunday. It is Missing People in the Land Between the Lakes is the title of the video. Mark Scott was asking, Jesse, have you thought about doing a video on all the different equipment you and Joe use and how it works and all the benefits? I need to do an updated equipment video because our entire loadout is completely different, isn't it?
Yes.
So need to do that. Alan Howell, thank you for that. You guys are the best. Love this show. Thank you so
Thank
much.
You for that, sir.
Yes, very cool. Going down through here. I'm going to try to blast through here. Armitage carry is the way to go. Yes, I love Armitage carry. I don't think he's making sheaths anymore, though. He might be. let's see. But yeah, you guys get ready and have your notifications on because we are going to do a live in the field, a live investigation in about half an hour. And yeah, so let us know here. Daniel Calabrese, I will look through the chat and see what you said on there. If you want to email us, my email is down below if you have something you want to say that I missed maybe in the chat. We're a little discombobulated here because we are on location. So we are dealing with all of that. Johnstead Farm got a notification. Notifications are on, but they didn't get one. It's just spotty. Keep an eye out. We'll be coming on in about 30 minutes. So...
All right.
All right.
Let's rock it.
So, yeah, we're going to end this broadcast. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you guys in a few minutes. Thank you guys so much. See you soon. See you on the trail in about 30, 40 minutes. Bye, guys.
Oh, God.